Today I want to explain why we're doing this paper wallet kit from the metaverse and the future of money, what the point is and why it matters. Looking back on 8 years in this blockchain space, you really have to get over a few walls of ignorance to see clearly. When people don't, their ecosystems and projects end up like this. Korea bans ICOs? Fine, go to Singapore. Do an ICO out of Singapore. And if the US pushes back, just say, not for US persons. Then they paste a page of disclaimers, hire lawyers, sell tokens first, raise money, and only then sketch a nice-looking ecosystem slide deck and push for an exchange listing. Behind the scenes, millions of dollars changing hands as listing fees, exchanges taking under-the-table money and getting entangled. When investigations start, it all comes out. Those illicit costs end up being passed on to users, of course. Then when markets run hot, bubbles inflate, and it feels like a game everyone wins until it breaks. Then it all breaks at once, and bankruptcies cascade. So yes, Bitcoin maximalists have a point. This constant churn of shitcoins keeps choking Bitcoin just as it's trying to breathe again and again. But let's be honest, this won't just stop. People are greedy and anxious, right? And many operate in ignorance. So when others don't invest, they don't either. When others pile in, they feel they must too. In fact, you should move the other way, but they lack the conviction, the knowledge, or the capital to do it. Something is missing. So you need capital, yes, but also clear thinking and discipline. If any one of those slips, you drift into speculation. And because the market for that is so wide, people keep churning out slapdash projects. Draw an ecosystem, set up a Singapore entity, dump tokens first, and then tussle with regulators after the fact. Is it impossible to take a different path? No. I've argued since 2015, don't take that path. I've pursued opportunities consistent with that stance, but explaining it to thick-headed people gets exhausting. I know that phrasing can feel abrasive. Don't agree with you, then we're blockheads, you might say. But the proposals I've made over the years, even when I didn't execute them, have later appeared and been adopted by others. So, ironically, I didn't win with them, but the fact that others succeeded with the same ideas is indirect proof. Still, what good is that? We have to build now. I used to chase big guys, the big players, but I've changed my approach because of you. Honestly, I never thought of starting this way before. To begin with the community first, to build the ecosystem first. If we do that, then just as I've always dreamed, we won't need to sell tokens. We really don't. Once there's a community and you can use this as a kind of teaching tool, since it works exactly like Bitcoin, as a tool to experience Bitcoin peer-to-peer. You can do it yourself, right here, in this wallet. This is your private key. Never show this to anyone. This one, your public address, is what you can share. So on your phone, go to the Play Store, download the app with the whale icon, BTC Mobic, tap Add Wallet. And when you see Import, tap it, your camera will activate. Of course, you'll have to grant permission the first time. Then just scan this, and the wallet imports automatically. Whatever's inside comes straight in. Because the wallet inside the app is this wallet. You've basically created a second door to the same place. Then from there you can tap Send and point your phone at another wallet's public key. Enter the amount you want to send, type it in where it says 0 and send any amount you like. You can send 1.5 or fractions as small as 100 millionth, just like Bitcoin. Send it and the transaction goes through. To check, just tap Add Wallet again, import the private key, and you'll see something like 10.1 appear. Play around with it that way. Have your family install it too. Use it together. If we move forward together over time like this, the only real problem is impatience. Because people feel rushed, they sell, they chase quick profits, and even though they say, trust me, they end up betraying that trust. But if real trust exists, and this is a trust-based business, then an ecosystem forms naturally. Because you're not selling, you find other ways to sustain it. And in that process, energy is invested. Then, once it's proven to be a healthy ecosystem, companies start to join in. And when that happens, what do we do with them? I'm thinking big here, major companies. What happens when they join? They start using the coins you hold. That's crucial, they use them. The key isn't selling this to the company, it's getting them to use it. Use it where? In the end, it's just like the early internet. What matters is the platform. In a narrow sense, a platform is simply where people gather. So you can use it to bring people together. That's how you create a network effect. And none of this breaks any law. We're not selling, we don't sell. We're not paying millions in listing fees to get on some exchange. It works without that. Once the ecosystem forms, the coin you hold moves into a different phase. What started as a practice coin has strict scarcity, and that scarcity is publicly visible in the Explorer I'm showing you. The Chain Explorer makes it transparent. You can't fake that. It's unforgeable. Now, here's where I ask for your trust. Where do we sell the public good coins we hold? We don't sell them. That's been the core of my proposal since 2015. Don't sell. I want to prove you don't have to. Yes, what matters is the ecosystem, the gathering of people. But here's something important you should know. If you look at the EU's crypto asset regulation, MiCA, it's a heavy bureaucratic system. When elite bureaucrats draft it, it becomes law, strange as that may be. There's a section on stablecoins. They treat algorithmic stablecoins as separate outside their true stablecoin category. Still, what do they try to regulate there? After Luna Terra's collapse, they're feeling confident. No need to fully regulate algorithmic stables. They self-destruct anyway. But they do try to pin responsibility on issuers by saying they'll regulate any implication or guidance about price. Hints, nudges, forward-looking price talk, that's what they target. That's their mindset. It's not our jurisdiction, and I'm not bound by it, but because regulators think that way, I'm keeping it firmly in mind. So I'm not going to imply a price or talk in a way that could be read as price guidance. It could become a problem down the road. Instead, we move to a different phase. At first, we use it simply as a learning tool, a way to experience Bitcoin. But eventually, it evolves into something else. And that next phase begins when companies start using the coin. And why would companies use it? Because there's already an ecosystem. Everything works in reverse. Every altcoin project you've seen did it backwards because they never crossed that barrier of ignorance. They lacked a humanistic insight into what the Bitcoin phenomenon actually means. So they promise guarantees. And that's how projects end up becoming cheap, shallow copies. There are no guarantees here, no price hints either. Who gives price guidance on Bitcoin? People like me may speculate, but you don't take that as a promise. It's just conjecture. There's no central organizer, right? That's how one phase naturally flows into the next. What matters is that people gather. The fact that you and I can communicate and build trust is already an enormous asset. And it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to this community. If we can channel that for the public good, then the ecosystem keeps growing. That's what Bitcoin has taught us from the beginning. But people ignore all that and only stare at the price. That's why the conversation stays stuck at such a low level. Whenever I meet people to discuss business proposals, the first thing they ask is, so what's guaranteed? Do we have to tie it to our product somehow? Do we need to get it listed? Some begin to open their eyes and shift perspective, but most still end up asking, so can we at least exchange it for a product at first? And I say, that's illegal, violates product and gift certificate laws. And then they go, what are you talking about? How does that even gain value? But after seeing the 2017 altcoin boom, the next question became, so when does this get listed? Which exchange will it be on? That's all they ever ask. It all comes from impatience. You just need to walk this path with me slowly. Let's take our time. If we go slow, no problem will arise. This is a long fight. As I emphasize in the final chapter, the reason we study geopolitics is this. Whatever field you work in, whatever choice you make, you operate within a larger preset geopolitical order. And those geopolitical cycles last at least 30 years. So whether your life in society spans 30, 50, or 60 years, you'll only live through one or two such cycles. And by then, both our social and biological lives will have run their course. So if what we do isn't aligned with geopolitics, if we launch a business that runs against the prevailing order of the time, or even study in the wrong direction, we end up doing the wrong things. That's why geopolitics, more than anything, deserves our attention and study. But elites tend to keep it to themselves and rarely teach it, and the space is flooded with conspiracy noise. It's the same pattern as with Bitcoin. People skip Bitcoin and chase alts. They started studying geopolitics and end up in conspiracy theory, wandering off to the dark side of the moon. There was a headline today, too. At the end of August, a whale moved 10,000 coins from a wallet untouched for 7 years. 5,000 and 5,000. News like that usually weighs on price. From what I see, whale movements are the biggest driver. That's why projects that make whale behavior transparent are so meaningful, especially in the long run. Anyway, check the reports yourself. See what I mean. How do we hunt whales? That's a crucial question. To stop whales from being a persistent market variable so that 10 or 20 years from now they don't keep stressing the market like this, we need to address it beforehand with transparency. In any case, I've come this far thanks to you. Let's keep moving forward together, slowly and steadily. Thank you.